Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out GITGUDRacing.com. I've coached hundreds of drivers, from real-life racers to sim enthusiasts, who experience rapid improvement after just one session. And while investing in top-notch hardware is great, imagine how much more you can elevate your experience by adding coaching to the mix. My methods are practical, aiming to break down complex concepts into easily digestible bits that are simple to understand. You can find reviews of the sessions I've conducted on the Fiverr link provided in the video description. Let's elevate your racing skills together. Now for the track guide. For turn 1, what I'm looking at is this exit road on the left side. I want to first turn the car to the corner at the exit road and then applying the brakes. So first turning in and then at the exit road applying the brakes. I'm planning to check this curb very early, so apex kinda early here. Keep the momentum rolling with the brakes still on, so it's a very long trail braking zone, so at this moment still holding the brakes. And then whenever you get a bit closer to this curb, downshift to third gear and use with the left tires this part of the curve while still trailing into the corner. So a lot of trail braking going on. Then on this corner here, you want to apex late. This was an early apex for me. So you want to apex later than that. Because the earlier you're gonna apex, the more you will run out of track on the exit. So for example here, I was running out of track, so I had to do this throttle drop, which made me lose half a tenth. So the perfect way to do it is to trail brake just a bit more. So have the idea in your mind that you have to apex very close to this part here. Around here, you should be back on throttle and cutting. So there's a point in which being too early on throttle while the car is not rotated well enough will not be the faster way to take a corner. So be a bit later on throttle, but make sure you rotate the car with the trail brake. That's gonna give you a good run. Now for the next corner, align yourself to the grass here, so use all the track and try to cut this curve. Go over it, even more than what I did here. So my S's sector, it was not the great at this point, but I will try to point out the mistakes. So try to use a lot more curb here, go over it a lot more, and then when you arrive this part of the curb, drop the throttle and then just trail brake, so you will have a tight line. Then we're gonna be back on throttle, and the idea here would be to not be on the far left part of the track. So if you're gonna touch this curb with the left tires, that's gonna be a shallow line for the next corner. You don't want to be on the right side either, because we don't need to prepare this corner that much. The perfect position will be something in the center left part of the track. So what I have here is a good reference of what a good line should look like. Now going into this next corner, the moment that I'm starting to get close to the curb, I'm dropping the throttle and I'm just trying to maintain the throttle a bit here. So I'm not dropping it to 0, but I'm dropping it very closely to 0. And then it's very important in this part to hit 100% throttle. I mean, this is gonna be a team for the S's. So you want to be hitting 100% throttle. So for example here, where at this point now 100% and holding, then dropping, then the goal is to reach 100% again from here, and then dropping. You don't want to do the mistake in which you are maintaining the throttle to around 60, 80, 90% throttle and never hitting the 100. The 100% throttle hit is gonna be far superior in terms of a throttle input than just maintaining a certain amount of throttle. So this is gonna be your goal, to hit this 100% even in this corner here. The reason why I didn't hit 100% throttle here was because I didn't cut as much that curb. So if we go back again to the curb, it was a bit back here, this one. If I would have cut more the curb, I could have reached 100%. So keep it in mind, you want to get this 100% throttles in the S's. Very, very important. That's gonna give you the best S sector. Same here. In this part, we just want to stay as tight as we can to this curb while trailing, cutting a bit the curb, and then hitting this 100% very quickly before turning in. Because at turn in, we just want to bring the car all the way to the right side and then turn. And we will have to do some lift here to make it work. But very important to apex late. So you should delay this turning point as much as you can. Because if you're gonna meet the curb at the beginning of it, like right here, if you're gonna touch it initially here, it's gonna be way too early and you will have to drop the throttle more than what I did. So ideally, you see I'm hitting it not in the middle, but a bit more closer to the middle. It's gonna be the perfect way to do it. Moving on to the next two corners right here, difficult corners, you can easily lose the car. The 50-meter board is the reference. I'm braking slightly before it, and while trail braking and turning, I try to cut as much as I can this curb. This is gonna be key. And the moment that you cut the curb, the car is gonna be very unstable. So you must smash the throttle input so you will gain some grip to the rear tires. So to keep the car in check, because you're losing rear grip when you're doing this corner, you should go early on throttle so that you will add some weight on the rear tire. So right now I'm smashing it. You see, in 2 frames I'm already at 84% throttle. This is how you balance the car in this corner, and this is how you keep the momentum going. Now for the next one, use a bit this part of the curb, don't use more than that, because if you're gonna touch the grass, it's gonna be very hard to put the car back in, because this curb has a bit of height and the car will go over it, so don't use too much this curb. And for the next corner, I'm keeping it in 3rd gear and I try to apex very closely to the green part of the curb, and again putting the power early. Don't go too far on the left, it's gonna be the same thing. The suspension will make you lose a bit of time because the tire won't be in contact with the tarmac at all times, so you will lose time. For the hairpin though, what I'm using as a reference for braking is the ending of the curb, but I want to have the steering wheel straight when braking. So right now, first of all, I straighten the steering angle and then I'm applying the brakes. Don't brake that hard. You can brake a bit softer, so this was a bit too much braking from my part. And then with 2nd gear, putting the power down nice and early at the apex. Also, one other thing that you can consider, turn in very late here. So don't go diagonally into this corner like this, instead go straight and then turn. This is gonna be a way a lot more quicker and more consistent to do it in this way. Now for the next corner, this is gonna be a difficult corner. With this car it's a bit more stable, it depends. If you're gonna use the Porsche, probably it's gonna be a lot more difficult. I'm using this exit road on the right as a reference for braking. As soon as I'm passing it, I'm braking and I'm trying to bring the car to this curve right here. So this corner has 4 checkpoints. This is gonna be the first one with the brake, hitting this part. Now after this part, I want to be back to 100% throttle. I wasn't able to do it, I was able to do it only to 90 or something, around here, 95. But this is gonna be the idea, this is gonna be the goal. Brake, get the curb, first phase. Second phase, go to 100% throttle so you can push the car wider to this curb. Third phase is hooking the car to this curb, so using this curb to open up even more. And then applying the brakes, small trail brake to make the car rotate. And the last phase, putting the power down very late at this curb. Don't use more than this because it's gonna be an off track. Difficult corner, but it has these stages like braking, hitting that curb, then going to 100% throttle, hitting the curb on the outside and open up, then braking again with small percentages, making the car point, going to the curb on the inside and then putting the power down and having no gap in between the inputs. That's gonna be key around here. Now for this corner, you can cut more than what I did here. So I'm braking at the 50-meter board right here, and I'm trying to put my tire on this curb. You can even cut a bit the grass, it's gonna be a bit quicker because you can put the power down a bit more quickly. Push the car to this part of the track now, bringing it back, and for braking I use the 100, brake slightly before it, I brake past it right here, and I'm braking now way too hard to 100%. So brake slightly before it, but brake to 85, something like that, because you'll have more grip in the mid part of the corner, because you won't overheat the tires. So don't brake to 100%, this was a bit of late braking, so try to avoid it. However, cut this curb as much as you can, and then put the throttle on, just a dip on the throttle and then back on. So this is the shape that, I'm sorry, this is the shape that you should be looking for. Braking, spiking the throttle, then dropping the throttle and going back on throttle again. Using this curb on the exit, and in short, that's a track guide with a GT4 for Suzuka. I wish you have a great week ahead, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.